all of BLUELOCK's miraculous plays and unprecedented goals, it's truly a spectacle to see these world-class plays take shape. But with recent information revealed in chapter 328, we learn about this omnipotent concept known as the God of Soccer. This heavenly figure of soccer is apparently behind some of the peak performances during play, and was even a factor for stoking an inexplicable play from Ego during his prime. But what is this God of Soccer? Have we seen it before? And what kind of impact will it have on the future of the story and our main characters? Well, in today's video, I'm here to answer all those questions and maybe sprinkle in a little bit of theorizing. Before getting into this video, I want to remind everyone that this is simply meant to be a theory and is not meant to be taken as fact. If I happen to be wrong in the future of the story, then I'm wrong. Nothing I can do. And also, spoiler warning for the latest events of the BLUELOCK series, and if you are not caught up, I would suggest you click off this video now if you wish to not be spoiled. Now, I think the most basic question we can ask to start this video off is, what is this God of Soccer? Obviously, it isn't this omnipotent presence that is literally directing the things that go on during a game, like some creepy space puppeteer daddy. But I do think that the classification for the God of Soccer is interesting based on Ego's explanation. Ego essentially explains how this God of Soccer is this feeling of perfection to where everything seems to just go your way and align exactly with what you were thinking as a player, almost like something godly is guiding your performance. So it's not a god like an actual deity, it's just an answer that Ego is giving to something that he can't explain rationally. It's like the devout religious followers who say, I can't explain it, so it must be God. It's like that kind of claim. Ego couldn't exactly explain how he was able to do what he did, but he felt like everything went too well or too according to his plan, almost saying like it was the work of some soccer god. When it comes to visuals though, we see that this God of Soccer has taken on the form of this harpy-like creature spouting from Ego's back in a previous page. Or at least, that's how it might seem. This soccer god is actually manifested in the form of a Yatagarasu, a creature from Japanese folklore and mythology. The Yatagarasu is recorded as being a crow god of guidance, marked by its iconic 3 legs. These 3 legs are reported to symbolize 3 things as it relates to the world, being heaven, earth, and humanity. What's also worthy to note is that this is the creature on the Japanese football kits, as it's the symbol for the Japan Football Association. So what's important to consider is that this god of football might only appear as a Yatagarasu for those in Japan, or for us viewing the story through BLUELOCK, meaning players like Kaiser, Loki, and Noah might not see this specific creature as the God of Soccer and might seem something more native to their respective countries. I'll come back to this in a minute because it's a very important topic that I do need to bring up. Going back into the actual creature itself and the meaning for its legs, it actually does connect to the BLUELOCK ideologies throughout the series. The first thing being heaven, which I believe correlates to luck. Back in chapter 87, Ego describes what luck is in BLUELOCK, how it's not just a theoretical concept, but something that can be identified and extorted. And what's interesting is that the goddess of luck is a figure with an eerily similar shape to the Yatagarasu from Ego's explanation. This luck is essentially an extension of a godlike action, as luck descends from the heavens down on the pitch, and only those with the capacity to understand it can truly emulate what it means to be godlike. Not to mention, since luck in real life is kind of just a theoretical concept, like, oh, you just got lucky, so is heaven. It's a nice little connection within a connection there. The next leg correlates to earth, which I believe relates to flow. Flow in BLUELOCK is regarded as a state of total immersion with oneself, achieving the peak performance of what a player is capable of at this current point in their career. In this capacity, achieving a flow state is bringing out the most of what you're capable of, meaning your performances might appear to be guided by a god. Achieving flow is basically opening the gates to heaven to meet with this soccer god directly, or in other words, bringing this entity down to earth to meet with you. Both of these connections and legs are interesting since Isagi directly asks about them, and Ego says that they are extensions of this godlike trance. And for the last leg, this is supposed to symbolize humanity, or in BLUELOCK terms, originality or hunger. What makes you a human is the originality within yourself. You are you. There's nobody like you. You are a one-to-one version and an original being. This inherently connects to soccer. No matter how much you try to copy or emulate someone, you are you. You have your own style, egos, desires, and this third leg is what makes tapping into this godlike state possible. You need to be playing for yourself, playing for your ego and originality as a striker. This is what we see from Rain in the U20 game when he unlocked his Destroyer mode, and Isagi in the PXG game when he came to understand his Omnivision ability. I'll bring those up later in this video as well. But those three elements of the Yatagarasu is exactly what a player needs to comprehend and understand in order to be chosen by God. And even then, I don't necessarily think every player will be able to. However, there are some characters that I am almost certain will unlock a god trance. Remember how I mentioned Loki and Kaiser, specifically talking about their native countries? This is where I circle back to that. When you look at the Yatagarasu, or the god of soccer by Ego, it's the logo for the Japanese Football Association, but it's also called the Crow of Guidance. While other football associations don't inherently use birds or crows as their logo, there are two that use something similar. France, who uses a rooster, and Germany, who uses a black eagle. Now, what's important about all these things is while they are all birds, they are all highlighted by three specific elements: speed, power, and vision, which, if you can't figure it out, connects to each of these core players respectively. Speed for Loki, with his Godspeed technique, using his acceleration to move faster than anyone else on the pitch. Power for Kaiser, using his Kaiser impact technique to enforce his way of soccer using powerful, ruthless malice. And vision for Isagi, who uses his fourth dimensional sight and prediction to combat those with God-given techniques. This correlates to the Yatagarasu as well, associating each with the three legs on the creature. Based on this, I think it makes total sense that Isagi, Kaiser, and Loki will be the three most capable characters of reaching this godlike trance, or being blessed by this god of soccer. Before I continue the video, I have something very important to talk to you guys about. We all love sleep, right? Being able to dedicate 6 to 9 hours to become a motionless burrito while our brain runs a highlight reel of the weirdest possible dreams. It's the best, and it also really sucks when you don't get a good night's sleep. Well, I have the fix for you because this video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. Manta Sleep specializes in customizable sleep masks that feature unique removable foam eye cups. These eye cups help create a 100% blackout environment without applying pressure to the eyes, which is pretty beneficial for side sleepers and those who are sensitive to light. These masks are super breathable, which makes it really no issue when you have them on your face when you're, sleeping at night. Manta Sleep was even kind enough to send me their sound mask, which comes with all of the previous benefits that I just mentioned, but also built-in adjustable Bluetooth speakers. All you gotta do is move these blue tabs to fit your ear, and it gives you the best amount of comfort possible. And assuming you want to adjust the volume of whatever you're listening to, the face panel here can adjust the volume without you ever removing your mask. And assuming for whatever reason you don't want the face panel on your mask, it's Velcro, so you can just take it off. And if you're worried about the battery life of this mask for your Bluetooth needs, don't worry, because it has over 20 hours of battery life in a single charge. I really enjoy this mask, and don't just take my word for it. Here's a word from another happy customer. If you want to enjoy a good night's sleep, Manta Sleep is here for you. Head on over to Manta Sleep's website using the link in the description and use the code AERO10 at checkout like it appears on screen, and you can save 10% off your entire order. That's not even including the 15% you save if you spend $99 or 20% if you spend $150. Thank you again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video, and let's just jump right back into it. When it relates to this god of soccer though, I am curious as to whether or not we've seen it in the series already. And to me, while you can debate some occurrences of this character, there is one for certain that we have all seen this god in. That being Nagi's goal against Baston München, the 5-stage revolver fake volley. When you compare Ego's dialogue to Nagi's goal in chapter 196 to his dialogue here with Isagi in relation to this god, they are eerily similar. Ego describes Nagi's goal as being something with 0 reproducibility, but also how it gave him a sense of discomfort by seeing it. And we just chalk this up to Ego saying that this goal from Nagi would be something that would be the death of him, performing a feat beyond his talent, making his performance in the new Egoist League moving forward that much more difficult. But the dialogue that really sticks out to me personally in relation to this is how Ego says that everything was going too well for Nagi. That description is nearly identical to how Ego described this divine intervention during his play. So there's always the possibility that Nagi experienced or felt a connection to this god of soccer when trying to beat Isagi with this brand new technique. I think that there's also an interesting connection between this and his own ego. During his conversation with Baratsuda, Nagi explains that his true ego is his desire to feel like a god. Some might interpret this as Nagi having experienced this godlike presence more often than most people. But I feel like it's more of Nagi pursuing the feeling of being untouchable even in relation to other soccer players, doing things that nobody else can do, and how Chris Prince put it, scoring goals in a way that only he can. I've also seen people draw the connection of Nagi himself being this god of soccer in a way of him pursuing an ego for himself, but also the connection with Isagi and his nickname of the Demon King. Maybe in this capacity, Nagi will be one of the core pieces to help Isagi reaching this feeling or his intervention of God. But this kind of dialogue and importance in the story, specifically with Nagi, is exactly why I don't think episode Nagi should have ended just yet. Imagine we got to the NEL in this spin-off, and during this moment with the internal dialogue from Nagi during his 5 stage, we could see this godlike entity. It'd be just the confirmation that we need for this connection, especially with future development for Nagi and our predictions for such. But going back to the 5 stage for a moment, specifically Ego's words in relation to it, there's something interesting mentioned. Ego's expression was of anger, and most people thought he was just aura farming or expressing genuine hatred for Nagi with his play. But with this latest chapter, it stands to reason that his expression was actually sorrow, seeing another talented player potentially experiencing what he did during his prime. Nagi performed an inexplicable move with zero reproducibility that not even he can comprehend how he accomplished it, and it might lead to his death as a player. Ego sees this as wasted talent, and he hates seeing talent die. This moment legit gave him a flash of PTSD. And personally, I love this care that Ego has for Nagi in this way. Maybe the words that Ego is speaking to Ryo about the fire in his soul and how it'll never return, or how he should have tried to beat Isagi on his own, are him speaking from his own experience about his relationship with Noa. Speaking of Noa for a minute, I'm sure we can all agree that Ego's incredible performance during those 7 minutes had to have been against Noa, right? In regards to their relationship, from what we knew, Noa informed Isagi that Ego is the only person that he ever considered to be a true rival. And with this chapter, we learn that Ego retired from playing as he was unable to summon that god trance again. But aside from a few small interactions, this is the first new piece of evidence we've gotten in relation to Noa and Ego's relationship since chapter 204. Thinking back to earlier points in the series, I'm trying to think of the mention of a god when it relates to the current topic, and while you have Nagi's dialogue about him being a god, or Bachata during the Barcha vs. Manchan game, it just doesn't feel right to me. But I did find something that was a little bit important, that being Noa's dialogue with Isagi during the Manchan City game. Noa tells Isagi to prioritize rationality within his mind, but also states that Isagi is not God. Now, this is obviously in relation to Isagi being overwhelmed with potential options, but I do think this is in reference to Ego and Noa's relationship. I feel like this situation here with Isagi and Noa was something eerily similar or nearly identical to a situation with Noa and Ego from their past. Considering Noa and Ego were teammates over a decade ago in universe, it's possible that a link-up play like this was something they experienced together. Noa could likely sense the similarity to that moment with Ego, considering the comparisons that Noa has drawn between Isagi and him. These specific words could have been used to keep him from achieving that god trance and potentially burning himself out of soccer. I mean, it makes sense with the parallels between Nagi and Isagi that exists in the story. It would make sense that they both experienced this touch of God in similar moments of play. But I could also understand why Noa did this. Assuming Isagi hit that peak and he started to crumble like Ego did, his desire of conditioning and nurturing Kaiser into a rival through Isagi would fall apart. Even when trying to be nice, he's still doing everything for his own sake. God, I just do not like Noa. Fuck that guy. But aside from Nagi in the 5 stage, are there any moments in the story that we have seen this god trance occur? In my opinion, we've seen it happen with 4 different characters: Isagi's Omnivision, Rain's Destroyer mode, Nagi's Reaper state, and Bachata's Monster trance. To me, these 4 characters and their true flow states, as I used to call them, really seem to be them emulating this god of soccer, or these god trances. I referred to these forms as true flow states, an evolution to base flow. when a player realizes their zero state as a person and achieves a performance beyond what the standard flow was capable of bringing out. This is why we see players with this state of mind transition from the standard crystallize to these unique designs like the Destroyer Eyes or this Omnivision design. I'm a little less certain about the Reaper state for Nagi and the Monster Trans for Bachata being God transforms, but for the other two, I'm more than positive. In this recent chapter, Isagi explains the concepts of geniuses and talented learners to Ego, and there's one specific point of dialogue that I want to bring up here. Isagi says, when a genius and learner are properly balanced, if they keep competing with one another in the flow state, then their growth potential is unlimited, and either can eventually be the world's best. This dialogue is incredibly important to me because it ties in with the previous theory I had, that being the golden brain theory. The golden brain theory of mine was a theory that explains that by merging the mentalities of a genius and talented learner and learning to thrive in both restrictive and freedom environments, a player will harbor the capabilities and potential to become the best in the world. This is due to a balancing of personal desire with world value, with the combined advantage of being unlimited in any environment, resulting in a new consistent flow state no matter the circumstances on the pitch. This description that Isagi gave really ties into this theory. I believe that as long as you can get two players, one genius and one talented learner, playing in their flow states, competing against each other with the truest form and nature of their ego, both players will have the capability to enter the God trance. This is why you see Isagi awaken Omnivision after a direct encounter with Rain in his Destroyer mode. And this moment would also highlight the importance of this panel here, showing a peak performing genius and a peak performing talented learner clash while both being blessed by this god of soccer. It would even be consistent with the Japan U20 game where after beating Sai in Destroyer mode, Rain sees Isagi score with a piece of luck. Both attributes would be connected, getting blessed by this soccer deity. I think the chances of these forms both being a god trance is fairly high, given the dialogue and implications of these transformations within the story. Now I'm sure you're probably asking in relation to the title of this video, how is this god of soccer not exactly what it seems? I mean, based on dialogue, it does seem fairly positive, right? Ego describes it as being this incredible trance, and so does Isagi, mentioning his U20 goal using luck. But I think that this god of soccer could actually be ego death. Think about it for a sec. Ego describes his ego dying for the sport, retiring due to this god never returning to him. And with Nagi assuming this god of soccer appeared for his 5 stage, it resulted in his ego dying and his talent withering away. Isagi talks about this god of soccer being this superior and positive being, a source that has directly resulted in positive involvements throughout his soccer career, such as meeting Bachata or the final PXG goal. But what if this god of soccer is made to symbolize the death of one's ego? It could connect to the dialogue from the creator of would you still support Isagi until the end, but also the speculation and theory of Isagi's new style being the death of him. Many people have interpreted this line from the creator as Isagi extorting someone or becoming the villain, with a lot of people theorizing that Isagi will actually be the cause of Chigiri re-injuring himself. And for this theory of his new ego being a negative thing, people have connected Isagi's tool-like mentality to being a disconnect from what he truly desires. He wants to win and nothing more, but being used as a tool devalues the win for himself, since he was simply an extorted player to achieve that. It's a very negative mindset and mentality to view the sport through, especially if you love it so much. But let's also connect that to Isagi's nickname of the Demon King. Assuming Isagi is this Demon King, the king of demons, the overruler of hell, what would happen if that creature happened to meet a deity? I don't know about you, but I don't think anything good can come from it. When Isagi says he wants to go meet this god of soccer, what if in the future he's faced with the obstacle of an ego death? The same obstacle that Ego was faced with during his prime. As a result of this, Isagi would not be able to use luck, he would not be able to understand flow or tap into his flow state or his Omnivision form. This, in my opinion, would be a very good thing for Isagi. It would force him to come up with a new idea, a new way of thinking, a new mentality to challenge this god of soccer and face it directly head on with cool-headed, calm rationality, the exact same thing that Noah told him to come at him with. If Isagi is able to overcome this god of soccer, the hurdle that even Ego himself couldn't get past, it sets Isagi up for being able to challenge Noah, the current best striker in the world, someone that not even Ego could compete against. That is what the god of soccer is used for in this story. It is the next hurdle that Isagi needs to overcome in order to challenge Noah and become the best in the world. And that's just my breakdown, analysis, and theory in relation to Ego and this god of soccer, along with its future involvement in the story. Now, unfortunately, with us on a break week and us having another break week after chapter 329, we have a lot of time to figure out what exactly this god of soccer means for the Blue Lock story, as well as what this could mean going into the next game against France. But I am very excited to see what is going to come next in the story, as well as what we could see from the Blue Lock team going into the game against France. But aside from that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. I just wanted to leave a final reminder to join my Discord server if you're ever interested in getting any more involved with our amazing community. As for the question of the video, what role would this god of soccer play in the story? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this.